Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Anthony, here to give you guys another movie review. This time it is for the movie The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. So first question is, why didn't they just name this The Conjuring 3? Because of Hollywood. Because Hollywood, you know, they're just going to want to do a whole bunch of movies that have just The Conjuring in the beginning, and then they can say whatever they want. The Conjuring, more money. But you know, joking aside, I really enjoy the Conjuring universe, the movies that we've gotten so far. I'm going to be actually doing a ranking video where I rank all 8 of the Conjuring universe movies, so be on the lookout for that one. Overall, I like the universe. I like the films that we've gotten. In particular, the first 2 films, I think they are pretty damn near close to being really like masterpiece kind of films. I don't really like saying masterpiece, but they're really good in my opinion. Modern day classic horror films. But now we're back to the roots, and this is the 3rd mainline Conjuring film. We have the Warrens, and this is a movie where it's just focusing on them, Ed and Lorraine Warren. And this movie, yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about it. Overall, I kind of just came out of the theater and it was just like, this was alright, this was okay. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on one of the most sensational cases of their career after a cop stumbles upon a dazed and bloody young man walking down the road. Accused of murder, the subject claims demonic possession as his defense, forcing the Warrens into supernatural inquiry unlike any other they've ever seen before. So the main thing, the main draw of this movie, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, title is terrible. It's a terrible title. Should have just named it Conjuring 3. I'm just not gonna waste any time. You already know the best thing about this film is the Warrens. Patrick Wilson is back along with Vera Farmiga, and their chemistry is on point. It's like it never left. You know, if they were a real couple in real life, I would totally get it. I would totally understand, because their chemistry in these movies, all 3 of these Conjuring movies, are so good. And I just love them. I just love them together. And this movie in particular, I feel like it's focusing on the Warrens a lot, because I know a lot of people on film Twitter have been saying this, that the Conjuring films are pretty much just a love story between the Warrens, and I tend to agree. The first 2 films, we know they love each other because the chemistry is off the chain, right? But we don't really dive that deep into the relationship. We get tad bits here and there of like, oh, they first met here, and you know, they did this when they were young and all that. But this movie, the 3rd Conjuring film, you get a lot more backstory. You get a lot more in depth with their love story. And I think out of all the Conjuring films, this one is particularly like really shoving it in your face that the Conjuring films are a love story. And I know that can rub people the wrong way, because they're like, I came for a horror film. I don't want to see no love stuff and everything. I personally don't mind it. Did this one a little bit like shove it in our face a lot? Yeah, I can see that. But like I said, the best thing about these films are the Warrens, so I'm not really mad about showing more backstory between them and getting to know them a little bit more. And that being said, that is probably the only positive that I have with this movie. I will say the first 15 to 30 minutes is probably like top tier Conjuring. Like if you came for The Conjuring, the first 15 to 30 minutes is great. It's like, okay, I sat down, I was sitting in my chair in the theater, and I was like, all right, this is what I came to see. This is what I came to see. But then after that, it kind of like teeters onto like mad territory, and almost kind of like this was a bad movie. And I want to get one thing straight here. I don't think this movie is bad. I just think it's not at the quality and the scale of the first 2 Conjuring films, even the Annabelle Creation film, which I enjoyed quite a bit. I just think it's just middle of the ground. And when you watch my Conjuring ranking, you'll know where I put it at. So I don't think it's gonna be that bad. It's not gonna ruffle any feathers that much. We also do see a lot of Lorraine's powers in this movie, more so than we have seen in the previous films. And I like that aspect, you know, showing how powerful Lorraine really is. And the one thing I like about the Conjuring films is that when they show Lorraine and Ed doing these exorcisms and like doing these supernatural like powers and abilities and all that stuff, it's so well done, and it's so like realistically done that you're kind of thinking in your head, like, even if you're a skeptic, you're like, whoa, you know, that could possibly work. But like I said, after the 30-minute mark, this movie just kind of turns weird to me. I don't know what they were trying to go for. Because we have one main story is about this case, about this kid who has been possessed, and he's saying that the devil made him do it. The devil made him kill. And that story is all fine and everything. And I think if they just focused on that kid and his family and everything around him, I think the movie would have been a little bit better. But they added a different element, which I don't want to spoil here because it would be a spoiler. They don't show it really in the trailer. It makes it feel like it's a separate part of the story, even though it's connected together. It just felt like it was two different stories, like butting heads together throughout the whole film. And when they do bring in that second element, it's so like outside of the realm of the Conjuring films. At least it took me out of the universe. Like, it took me out of this world. I was like, this doesn't fit the Conjuring universe at all. And it's really hard to talk about this film without going into spoilers, because the character that I'm talking about is a really big part of the movie and a really big part of like the surprises in the film. But just that character in general just feels totally out of place in the Conjuring universe, even though you can understand that, hey, maybe the Warrens would probably encounter a person like this during their investigations. It's just the way that they execute her. They make her almost like overpowered in a way, kind of like if you're in a fighting game and you're like, oh, the character's just overpowered, right? I don't know. It's just one of those weird things that kind of just took me out of the film. And it's weird because it's a big chunk of the film and we're focusing on that aspect a lot in the film. And I just didn't get a connection. I just couldn't connect with that aspect of the film. The rest of the film's fine. Like, Ed and Lorraine Warren is great. All the actors are great. The person that I'm talking about in the movie, they're great. Everything around it, the cinematography is great. There's a few like editing choices that I'm kind of like, what the heck, why would you do that? But overall, the package is fine. It's just the way that they go approaching the story just didn't really work. Ultimately, I thought that this movie would have been really well off. It was like a mini series, like a 5 episode mini series, where we can just like flesh out certain scenes a little bit more, certain aspects of the movie a little bit more. I think the whole time I was just like, man, this would be a really good like HBO Max like original series if they did the Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, the series or something like that. I think they would have done a lot better. And again, let me be clear, this movie, I did not hate this movie. I don't think this is bad. I'm not saying this is the worst Conjuring movie out of all 8 of the movies. It's definitely not. But understandably, people are going to come into this movie expecting like the Conjuring tier level status, and this movie isn't, and that's fine. But the most important thing is, what did you guys think of the movie? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think this movie is like top tier Conjuring universe, or do you think it's just in the lower tier? Also guys, don't forget to check out my Twitter so you can stay up to date with my channel, and remember guys, keep watching movies.